YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back with some more NFL draft content and doing a video I did last year that I enjoyed very much. QB brackets. In the spirit of March Madness, why not? We take 8 of the top quarterbacks in the upcoming draft. We don't use my rankings. We use kind of the average rankings out there. If we use mine, it'd be kind of pointless. The top seed would win every time. But I'll have position ranking videos for, all the positions once we get real close to the draft. Wait until I have firm rankings there so we're accurate. But yeah, we'll take the top 8 quarterbacks. They'll go head-to-head until we're left with the top quarterback. So we'll kind of get an idea of my thoughts on the quarterbacks here. So should be pretty fun. Subscriber goal, it's at 20K. If you don't subscribe to our channel, we got lots of NFL content. We started with the draft a couple years ago, and we cover the NFL on a daily basis. And we will be live during the NFL draft, so can't wait for that. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't quite yet. That's our goal. Click the like button. Be much appreciated. Let's get on to round 1. Number 1 seed versus the number 8 seed. Kyler Murray is most people's number 1. I know people do like Dwayne Haskins as well. And then, kind of showing that the quarterback class is maybe a little better than we once thought because people view this as a weak quarterback class. Well, we got 8 pretty solid guys here. Tyree Jackson's got a lot of potential, and there's even a couple guys left off the list that are pretty good. So Tyree Jackson from Buffalo, big quarterback, obviously, tremendous arm strength, pretty high potential, pretty high ceiling there. Needs to work on the accuracy in the short, intermediate routes, throws. So he needs some work, but we know how much teams, scouts, GMs like the big guy that can gun it downfield, and he's athletic on top of it. So teams will want to work with him. I think he can go in the range of 3 to 5. Really, his talent now, probably close to that 5 range. But for all the reasons I explained, he'll be appealing to teams. It wouldn't shock me if he went to round 3. But, we'll kind of go into Kyler Murray in a little bit. Right now, I'm just ready to move on because this is a pretty obvious one. Kyler Murray will win this one. He's the number 1 quarterback. He potentially is the number 1 pick in a lot of people's eyes. Is he my number 1 quarterback? Different debate. Moving on. So Kyler Murray won this round. Moving on to the next one. Dwayne Haskins versus Will Grier. Will Grier being at 7 is pretty darn good. Shows this quarterback class is good. I know some people like to rank him around that 4 or 5 range even, that high. But I think most people have him down here because, they don't like his mechanics. They don't like his footwork. Even though we've seen him make some pretty wild, clutch, accurate throws when it's really not the ideal, footwork or anything. So, but if he gets the job done, he gets the job done. That's how I always viewed things. So, he does need to work on, sideline throws, out routes. Same thing as Tyree Jackson, being a little more accurate in the underneath routes. So, very good deep thrower. Not a lot asked out of him from West Virginia. I know the deep throws are very hard to do, but, there wasn't a variety of things. So, people do worry about that. But has potential. Just needs some time to work with it. Dwayne Haskins. A lot of people like Dwayne Haskins at the top. He's good-sized quarterback, strong. The worry was how was it going to be under pressure? The quickness. Is it there to escape anything? He had a darn good offensive line at Ohio State. Throwing on the run is tremendous. Usually those two things, can they deal with pressure? Their footwork isn't, the quickest. And then throwing on the run, sometimes those go together. If you're good at one, you're good at the other. Sometimes, accuracy is a totally different thing. But throwing on the run is ridiculous for Dwayne Haskins. That Northwestern game, unreal. Some of those throws he was making. Probably out of all the quarterbacks, the best tape, not in terms of, I don't care about if there's like 3 ridiculous plays. In terms of a whole tape, that was maybe the best of this quarterback class. So, yeah, I do worry about him a little bit under the pressure, Looked real good at his pro day, though. But I'm going to take Dwayne Haskins this one. I think he's a top 10 pick once we're there in the draft. Will Grier, I'd say, man, I don't know. After that pro day, he's getting a lot of hype. I was about to say maybe his ceiling is round 2, but I don't think it happens. I'd say 3 to 4 for him, rounds 3 to 4. Haskins is going to win this one, though. More pro-ready. Mechanics really is what he has the big edge over Will Grier is for. So next matchup, Drew Lock and Ryan Finley. Ryan Finley, got a pretty good touch on the ball down the sideline. Pretty darn accurate. Wish he was a little more athletic. Actually showed up at the combine a little more athletic than I thought. But pretty good ball down the sideline, like I said. Calvin Harmon and him connected on a lot of those. And the big reason was Finley. I'm trying to watch Calvin Harmon tape, and he's pretty good too. But Finley just keeps dropping the ball in there perfectly. So you got to like Ryan Finley there. Very underrated. I've been saying it for a while now. I can see the Patriots. I can see him being maybe a future Patriots quarterback. Plenty of other teams too. And then number 3 is Drew Lock, who I like a lot because he's kind of got the confidence you look for. He's kind of got it. He got the right type of swagger to him. He's got a very good deep ball, strong arm. He can throw on the run. Another one of those guys that kind of needs to work on his consistency, his accuracy in the short to medium routes. That needs to be better. Guys going across the across the defense, across the field. Sometimes, and he's got to lead them. Sometimes he's a little, either he's behind or he's too far. But the deep ball, sometimes when he steps up in the pocket and just slings it, it looks real good. So gotta like Drew Lock. This is a closer matchup than you think. Ryan Finley is very underrated, but going with Drew Lock on this one. The 3 seed moves on. So no upsets yet. The last game of the first round. Here we go. Number 4, Daniel Jones. There's some people that there's rumors that teams have him at the top, and Jarrett Stidham is climbing up boards. After the combine and after people watching the tape, he has big time potential. Actually somewhat similar quarterbacks. Daniel Jones is very good in the RPO, very quick to throw, pretty accurate down the sideline as well, deep. Saw that Temple game, the bowl game against Temple. Very good. Definitely helped his stock in that one. Things I don't like about Daniel Jones is, under pressure. He could be a little better. Sometimes he kind of wants to, if the pressure's coming straight at him, sometimes he wants to just kind of hurry up in his drop and just kind of throw off his back foot, and doesn't really care where the DB's at or anything. And sometimes he's been fortunate enough to throw an interception. And then Jarrett Stidham, I can see it being easier on him in the NFL, honestly. That, I guess NFL pressure is a totally different thing, but just the play calling and the offense, I think, could be way easier. Sometimes seems like complex offense for Jarrett Stidham, and you kind of don't let him outside the box at time. He missed a couple deep throws, a little too far. Can work on that, though. I'm going for the upset here. Not too much of an upset, but I'm going Jarrett Stidham. There's too many things that scare me about Daniel Jones, under pressure, throwing off the back foot, not really worrying about where the defender is at. He's very confident he can make the throw. Confidence is a good thing, but sometimes situations like that, not so much. Maybe too much, I should say. I don't really see a huge ceiling on Daniel Jones either. Stidham, maybe Daniel Jones better than Stidham, right? If they both came in and started week 1, halfway through the season, I think we'd be saying Daniel Jones is better than Stidham, but with some time, Stidham will pass him. He's got a high ceiling, I think. With the right team, it's going to be pretty good. So that gets us to the second round, and we got Kyler Murray versus Jarrett Stidham. I like Jarrett Stidham. I like he's got a high ceiling. Kyler Murray is just a different type of guy. He can go first overall for a reason. Maybe it's just more of a fit. He's not the number 1 overall player. I can be on board with that opinion, but he's just a guy you don't want to play against. It's just hard to game plan against, something different, and you got to go Murray here. I guess it's pretty obvious. Stidham, I think, can go. It's tough to say where Stidham could go. I think the ceiling is 2. I think 2 to 4 he can say for Stidham. Pretty big range there. We eliminated Daniel Jones. I think he's doesn't get out of the second round. First to second round there. Moving on, we got Dwayne Haskins and Drew Lock, and this one's so tough for me. And I have really what it comes down to is I have less worries right away. I'm already announcing my winner here, but it's very, very close, and the rankings aren't firm yet. They can change, but I have less worries for Drew Lock, and he's kind of got that it. I've seen it in guys. I have no way to prove it, but I've seen it in Patrick Mahomes, his very first game. I've seen it in Deshaun Watson, his very first game. That's why I was high on those guys a couple years ago. And Drew Lock, Drew Lock's not Patrick Mahomes or Deshaun Watson, but he kind of has that it to me where you just can't explain it sometimes when you're watching a guy. And his deep ball is good. He does need to work on some accuracy issues in short to medium throws, under pressure. He had a pretty good line. We don't know too much about him under pressure. Haskins, I love the way he throws on the run. I think he takes too long to step up in the pocket and throw sometimes. And I think, it depends on what team these guys go to. That is the case for every year, but there was no matter what last year, Baker was my number 1 quarterback. And anybody that listened to me at the time knows that. Even if he went to the worst team and then the other teams went to a better team, better situation, Baker's still my number 1 quarterback. These guys, it's going to matter. It's definitely going to matter. The better quarterback will be the one that's in the better system, better fit. But I'm taking Drew Lock for now. It's one of those feelings. I've been doing this for a while. It's one of those feelings I got with him. But Haskins, that Northwestern game keeps getting to me. After that game, he was my number one quarterback, which during the year I'm swapping him like crazy, but I thought he was going to stay there. So I do worry about the pressure, do worry about, the quickness, but mainly is I think sometimes when you want to step up and throw it downfield, it's a beautiful ball, a very tight spiral, but I think it takes too much time sometimes, and it could result in a sack, maybe something worse. So then we have the final two, and it's tougher. It's closer than people might think, and I am a Drew Lock fan here, obviously, but really the difference, what moved Kyler Murray to my number one quarterback was just, I kind of already went over it, but just the fact that if I'm a coach on defense, which guy would I rather play? There's a bunch of Drew Locks in the league that are more developed. I'm not really scared of them. I'm confident here. I'm always confident, even if it's Kyler Murray, but I really don't want to play him. I don't want a game plan for him. You don't know what you're going to get. It's a surprise, very quick to throw. The deep balls are ridiculous. The one thing I really worry about for Kyler Murray, and he was my winner, by the way, pretty obvious, is, his best moments are those ones where he scrambles for a little bit, then he climbs the pocket, and he just unleashes just a deep ball, so perfect. I think the best one was probably the Alabama one in the semifinal game. But my worry is that gap's not. First of all, he's not going to be able to scramble for that long. I mean, he can escape, but he's not going to be able to go back into the pocket that many times. But that's the first part. But the way he climbs, it runs up into the top of the pocket there and unleashes it. Like, I think there will be defenders there in the NFL for the most part. Thinking about the NFL D lineman, I think there will be guys there. But that's not what defines him, though. Those are his highest moments, but he can run the quick offense. He can throw. He can make the sideline throws, the out routes, all that. So, and another thing is every time you interview a player that's played, some of these quarterbacks or just played one of these quarterbacks, it seems like they say that Kyler Murray's the best player in the draft, and he's just a guy you don't want to play against, and he was just hard to game plan against. He's hard to go against, I should say, and you keep hearing that, and that means something. The players are the ones out there playing. So I had Drew Lock at 1 for the while. At the end of the season, I had Haskins at 1. During the beginning of the season, another thing about Haskins, the beginning of the season wasn't anything special. He's missing some easy throws, the first half of the season. So I didn't even think he would be even considered at any point my number one quarterback. And then the late season, Haskins made it to my number 1. And then as soon as the offseason hit, watching more Drew Lock, he got to my number 1. But then the fact that I keep saying who I would not want to play Kyler Murray, and the players are saying, it's not just the players being nice either. It's, opposing. You got Texas players. I think Charles Omenihu was the latest one I saw that raved about him. You just don't want to play against this guy. And it's the new offenses that are dominating. You look at all the defense coordinators are old school guys. They know what to look for, but not when you play guys like this. So that's just really the difference. My rankings can change. My rankings aren't officially out yet. We'll get there. Lots of NFL draft content as we get closer. Can't wait. We're going to be live during the draft as well. Can't wait. So updates, check out our Twitter. Constantly talking with you guys on there too. Instagram, we have daily posts, and Patreon, we have exclusive content there. Links in the description for all those. That'd be much appreciated if you check any of those out. That's going to do it for this one, though. Appreciate everyone's support. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.